Hello and welcome to transforming a tabletop figure into a display piece. To start this process, a gloss varnish was applied to the model to make it easier to apply the decals. Most of the decals I do apply to this figure don't actually come in the box. None of the actual markings that came with the kit seem to resonate with me. So I use the spares that come in Edward and Tamiya models. Although I do use warm water to remove decals from the sheet, I still use Micro Set and Micro Sol to stick the decal to the model, as well as removing some of the thick carrier film that's on the decals. Once fully dried, I do apply a small amount of varnish on top of those little markings. This also helps to try and blend in that thick carrier film, as can be seen here. Now, I find that one of the easiest and best ways to make your model pop is to apply a dark grey pin wash into every crease, rivet head, small detail or feature of any kind. I prefer to use the AK Interactive Enamels, but oil paints, acrylic washes or even highly skilled paintbrush work will elevate your figure to the next level. Even though the next stage is cleaning up my messy work, all the details are really starting to stand out. To refine this process even more, odourless spirit can be used to clean up all the excess spillage. If you're in a hurry, you can use a cotton bud that's slightly moistened in the white spirit to clean off the enamel you don't want on the model. But I decided I wanted more control, so I used my paintbrush instead. Also note, if you use a Kolinsky brush for this, you will ruin it, so use a synthetic one like me. Once all the cleaning up is done, the pin wash has added depth to the model, as well as helping all the details stand out easily. Now my favourite oil paints. I used mainly yellows and greens, but you can actually use blue. Remember, yellow and blue make green, so blue filters do work over a green. I will, however, say avoid using black or even a grey, as they will be too strong, so I'm using a dark brown instead. This is when things start to get scary. I'm going to be applying a dot filter over every surface. I say it's a simple process of applying the lighter colours nearer the middle of panels or along the top of the leading edges, and applying the darker colours nearer the edges or across the bottom of vertical panels. I have used too much brown on purpose on the top of this figure to show how easy it is to fix any issues. You can either use white spirits to clean off all your work and start again, or reapply the lighter colours in the middle of the panel and blend them outwards until you've reached your desired results. Oil paints blend very easily and take forever to dry, so there's no real rush or hurry to try and fix any mistakes. For the vertical panels, brushing from top down instead of using a jabbing motion like on top helps create very subtle streaking effects. For the larger panel on the other side, a very small amount of white and grey were used on top of the oil blending to help define the different panels. The white oil paint created a highlight in the centre of the panel by lightening the colours underneath it, and the grey oil paint helped darken the edges of each panel as well as creating some shadows, but more importantly it helped to define the crease that was running across the side of the figure. If I was to remake this model, I would scribe a groove across that crease to make the two panels completely stand out and applied a pin wash inside it instead of having to use the oil paints. And if you like edge highlighting, good luck with that little edge. I did use too much oil paint on this panel, so a small little pin wash on those bolt heads is all that's needed to make them pop again. Now grab a sandy colour paint because it's time for chipping. Grab a sponge and start applying little dots of paint over all the leading edges, on the inside of the panels but sparingly, and anywhere else that would see lots of wear and tear. When your figure looks like it's been rolling around in some mud, it's probably time to stop, because remember, less can sometimes mean more. And if you apply too much paint, the gloss varnish should be strong enough to let you use a cocktail stick to scrape off some of that sandy paint. As every Warhammer painter needs to do edge highlighting, this is the time to highlight all the edges with that same sandy paint. And again, if you're not paying attention when edge highlighting and a different part of your brush touches the model, the cocktail stick is your friend. Also, if you're brave, you can paint tiny little scratches as well. It's at this point you're probably thinking the model just looks dirty and not had its paint chipped off in battle, so it's time to crack out a dark grey paint. This is going to represent the bare metal under all of those little chips. So reapply an edge highlight within the edge highlight and apply tiny little dots in all those little chips and scratches that you wish you hadn't created earlier. But you'll realise the more little dark spots you put in, the more your little eyes believe this model is actually chipped metal. To help sell this illusion even more, a little bit of rust is needed. You would think orange paint is needed for this part, but I'll show you a brown works better. This burnt sienna oil paint is applied to all the rivets and all those little black chips. This method now moves into the part of making it look worse before it looks better. I like to blend out all those little brown dots to tone down the intensity of the colour, and for the larger panels like the front of the model, a brushing motion from top down helps create simple little rust streaks. When I've reached the point when I think my little figure is starting to look more brown than green, it's time to crack out the white spirits and clean up all those little areas. Although it looks like I'm just completely removing all the paint, I'm actually pushing the oil paint around the surface. When I brush an area, it removes the oil paint, but when I lift my brush, it leaves a pool of oil paint behind. Normally you would brush the excess off on a kitchen towel, but I'm actually using this unwanted painting feature to leave the paint where I want it. If you've ever used acrylic glazes for blending colours, you'll know what I mean, what happens when you lift your paintbrush up and you see that tiny little puddle of paint that you left behind. Unwanted painting effects can be used to your advantage. Now it's time for pigments. I don't own a grey chalk, so I'm mixing some black and white. This is applied to all the areas that I think black smoke would come from, to sell the illusion that there's some soot left behind. I did actually apply a matte varnish to the model before I applied the pigments. I almost forgot that's probably quite an important thing to do. I used Vallejo's Rust pigment set for the exhaust covers on the rear of the model to help blend those parts into the rest of the figure. If you're wondering why I've numbered the bottles 1 to 4, it's because that's the order that I use them in. I always apply the darkest colour first and work my way up through the lighter colours, making sure that I apply more of the first pigments than I do of the last pigments. I applied these pigments on top of the AK Interactive Rust Effect paint to obtain greater chromatic richness. Sorry, I was just reading the small print on the back of the AK Rust Effect paint box. Now it's time for the secret weapon to make your model look like it's made from metal. The soft leaded pencil. Gently rub the side of the pencil head onto all of the raised edges of the figure, including in between any panel lines or across the top of any metallic surface. Apply it liberally onto any little bolt heads, and for good measure, to make sure any rusty parts look completely metallic, apply it to all the leading edges again, focusing mainly across all the edges that are facing upward, as those are the parts that are actually going to catch the light, to help sell the illusion that it's actually a piece of metal. I have to stress though, this is the only part that will make your model untouchable. The pencil trick is not for tabletop gaming. I also used a silver pencil across the top of all of the rivets to make them look metallic without looking the same as all of the edges. This little trick with the pencil, or graphite for example, also only really works if you keep looking at the model from different angles. It won't highlight all the edges at all the same time. I also tried out a couple of AK Interactive enamel paints that have a glossy finish on a couple of areas of the figure that will be hardly visible when finished, just to try out these two new paints that I bought. They're not important for the finish of this model, but just in case they are visible, I'm showing where I put them, just in case anyone notices any little shiny spots. So, let me know what you think. Have I overdone the chipping? Is there too much rust? Is there not enough rust? Should I have used orange or a dark brown for the rust? Would dirty down have been better? Either way, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching and have fun.